mega match, mega matchup, mega match,
mega matchup, mega match, mega match, mega match, mega match,
mega match, that mega match, mega match. It is the mega match. This man, Brock Lesnar, in a mega match.
Hey guys, new definition for the word mega. Short and underwhelming. What do you think? My fellow Marks, and welcome to this Survivor Series edition of the Remark, where I pit 5 of my best jokes against 5 of my worst jokes, and then just use whatever's left standing. I'm just kidding, I couldn't come up with 5 good jokes to save my life. My name's Martin, also known as the James Ellsworth of the internet wrestling community. People tolerated my presence for a couple of months, but then they realized this wasn't really going anywhere. Except I also have 4 times as many chins as he does. Speaking of bloated 4-chinned monstrosities, the expert panel is here to discuss a series of matches that have had maybe 2 weeks of build-up and promise to have 0 repercussions. That's 120 minutes of saying nothing about nothing. Booker T has never been more prepared for a kickoff show in his entire life. First up, it's the 5-on-5 waifu elimination match that pits the best girls of Smackdown against the best girls of Raw that aren't called Paige. But hey, rare sighting of the elusive Alicia Fox there, before she goes back into hibernation for the next 4 years. Earlier in the week, Charlotte Flair executed Order 66 on the entire SmackDown women's roster.
And I tell you guys, that right there is nothing no more than a Jedi mind trick by the Queen.
Ah yes, remember when Obi-Wan Kenobi had to sneak Luke into Mos Eisley by just walking into the cantina and getting the shit kicked out of him? One of the less humiliating experiences that Alec Guinness had on the set of Star Wars, to be honest. JBL gets on my last nerve.
You had the upper hand initially. The problem is, here came the cavalry.
Calvary. One of these things is mobile, so figure it out. Lita may have come up with a better name for Naomi's finisher, the rear view. So she could have said literally any words.
Naomi with one foul swoop taken out, like half of the Raw girls just right there.
Booker just finished watching The Girl Who Leapt Through Time before joining us tonight.
There, I heard a quote, "Time waits for no man or woman."
Interchangeable gender pronouns are hysterical. The WWE proves once again that pay-per-view taglines make for perfectly natural icebreakers in conversation.
Speaking of fantasy warfare that just got real.
I barely noticed she used it. I mean, did you notice? Did you? It was so fluid. Effortless. Nia Jax adds her fashion sense to the long list of opponents that she has brutally destroyed. Nikki Bella was going to be the team captain for SmackDown's women's team, but unfortunately for her, an impromptu episode of Total Bellas broke out, causing her to be eliminated due to frequent bouts of forced drama and even worse acting than usual.
Oh, my head, it hurts so bad.
Believe me, I'm getting sympathy pains. Half an hour into the show, JBL suddenly realizes what pay-per-view he's calling.
It's Survivor Series.
The entire crowd rates Naomi out of 10 while the ref counts her out.
That's it, that's the 10 count.
Accurate. Mauro Ranallo is a great play-by-play guy, but unfortunately, even he can't make me believe that this is running.
Natalya taking advantage, looking for a potential running Liger bomb on Charlotte.
Meandering Liger bomb, maybe. Ambling Liger bomb. Strolling Liger bomb. Power-walking Liger bomb. Casual jogging Liger bomb. Awkward child shuffling forward on the stage to deliver his science presentation Liger bomb. Really anything other than running, I would accept. Becky gets the disarmor on Nia, and apparently that Raw shirt has been cutting off the circulation to Nia's arm the entire match, because that one submission move is all it takes to get her to tap out. Bayley wins with a Bayley to belly to Becky. That's ballsy to Becky from Bayley right there. Charlotte beats the shit out of Bayley after the match. That's being a bully to Bayley. But don't worry, the other Raw women console Bayley after the show by offering her a drink at the bar. That's Bayley's to Bayley. Her finisher is fucking dumb. Dale Rutledge from Fox Sports thinks that all streaming services could learn a thing or two from the WWE network. Yes, the one thing that Netflix is missing is the complete inability to play all episodes of a show in chronological order. And Hulu really needs to start breaking its search function altogether. I really hate having the ability to type in the things that I want to see and actually be able to find them without difficulty. Also, constant stuttering while watching any videos. Why hasn't that been implemented? Sami Zayn takes on The Miz for the congrats on your perpetual mid-card status championship, and you can practically hear Lita fumbling through her thesaurus while they recap Miz's title win.
Maurice standing by as she does so eloquently.
Yes, Lita. Maurice was standing there quite eloquently. Her posture was extremely vocal. Her poise was nothing less than chatty. Mick Foley gives Sami Zayn a pep talk before his match. Makes a change from the typical pep shrieks that he's been giving out.
Do you want to know how I heard about the name Sami Zayn? My youngest son, super fan, tells me, Dad, I can definitely picture myself playing with a Sami Zayn action figure.
Wait, you heard about top Raw pick and former NXT champion Sami Zayn because your kid wanted to play with an action figure of him? How'd you find out about Finn Balor? Did your wife think that he should have his own off-brand Lucky Charms-esque cereal? Jerry Lawler makes a totally appropriate joke about the crowd's negative reaction to The Miz.
Don't listen to these people. I think this is the cast of Hamilton. You get a great man to come out here and they boo him.
I want give me your prediction.
Idiots.
Anyone selling a ticket? Who's selling a ticket?
I am the A-L-E-X-A-N-D-E-R.
Am I the bad guy? Maurice tries to distract Sami during his title match, but fortunately, Sami is able to counter her quite eloquently with the palm of his hand. An hour into the show, and Michael Cole still doesn't know what pay-per-view he's calling.
Sami's showing the guts here, even with the injured leg that General Manager Mick Foley alluded to in the Raw the Survivor Series kickoff show earlier tonight. It's Survivor Series!
Thanks, JBL. The announcers spend a good portion of the match comparing Sami Zayn to Mick Foley, which is an apt comparison, as both men have had former masked identities, and both men have been completely mishandled on Raw. In Mick's case, too much, in Sami's, not enough.
Mick Foley likened Sami Zayn to himself back when Mick Foley was here in WWE. Working inside the ring, scratched and clawed, dug down deep.
Yeah, an everlast boxing bag also takes a lot of punishment. Never won any titles.
Mick Foley did. Sami Zayn's a former NXT champion.
Yeah, but has anybody's kids wanted to play with an action figure of him? That's the true test of worth right there. Sami loses the title match when Maurice eloquently rings the timekeeper's bell to distract him. The timekeeper would have been paying closer attention, but he was too busy guesting on an episode of Comedy Bang Bang. Jerry Lawler plugs the newest Disney animated feature film with about as much success as his shilling for Man on the Moon.
People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive, and now starring in Disney's Moana? This guy's everywhere.
The WWE promotes one of the dumbest toys they've ever produced, the Crash Cage playset. Presumably this was also the first time Mick Foley had ever heard of this gimmick match, despite it just happening at NXT TakeOver last night. The 10-man tag team Survivor Series elimination match happens, and since Raw's team has the New Day and Enzo and Cass, the entrance to match ratio is about 10-1. But don't worry, I'm sure the rest of the pay-per-view pay-per-view won't have any matches that are dwarfed by their own build-up.
And ain't nobody gonna drain us of our energy.
Because nothing quite says high energy like Big Cass on the microphone. The WWE has forced me to spend way too much time staring at Enzo's crotch this week. Cesaro comes out in his usual James Bond-themed attire, which is appropriate as they are going up against the team of the Odd Jobbers. How could you not love Mojo Rawley?
Tuesday night's resident blithering idiot.
What in the world? Busting some moves. Oh!
This is how you don't love Mojo Rawley. David Otunga doesn't have time for your smarky nonsense.
Come on, Otunga, count along.
Not encouraging this.
Cesaro and Sheamus pick up the win, and I literally can't think of anything funny to say about this, so let's just watch that hysterical Mojo Rawley clip again.
What in the world?
No, still terrible. Fantasy thumb warfare just got real, and up next it's the Cruiserweight title match between Kalisto and the Brian Kendrick. Before the match, there is a video package where Brian Kendrick lays out exactly who he is, why he's fighting for the Cruiserweight title, and why the Cruiserweight division is important in the first place. It's fucking brilliant, and dare I say, eloquent. So of course Lita shits all over it.
You know, you said confident. I see I'm just watching that package. I'm like, you're so weird. like, what are you talking about? You're just such a weirdo.
Yeah, Brian Kendrick, you big weirdo. Being proud of your accomplishments and mocking your opponent and lending a certain amount of weight to a fight that didn't really have any actual build-up to it in the first place. What is wrong with you, you fucking weirdo? Quit being a nutter, you weird weirdo. Speaking of genuinely weird things, remember when JR used to say phrases like, "This is like a car wreck. You want to look away, but you just can't"? Well, Lita has her own spin on that.
I love watching it, but I love watching it like a car crash.
Okay.
I'm also like, what are you doing?
You love watching it like a car crash. Like no remorse, you're saying you really love watching car crashes. Also, while you're watching these car crashes and having a merry old time apparently, you're thinking to yourself, what are you doing? Not, oh shit, I hope those people are okay, or my god, I could have died, just, what are you doing? WWE Hall of Famer Lita there, admitting that she gets a sadistic pleasure from watching horrific car accidents. Words just keep coming out of Lita's mouth.
Is there like one giant band, like maybe like a ska band that's got lots of people in it?
Sami Zayn ska band.
And so there's the one guy that's always causing problems, but the whole band is getting blamed for it, and that's Brian Kendrick.
Yes, Brian Kendrick is exactly like one of those popular ska bands, where one of the members is just a troublemaker. Those ska bands are just known to break their trumpets live on stage and start huge riots. Ska is definitely the music genre synonymous with rebellious youth. Yet, good call, Lita. My fave referee makes sure the important cruiserweight rule of shaking hands is followed to the letter. Kalisto temporarily forgets what wrestling is.
Kendrick hanging on for dear life to the bottom rope.
Let him go, let him go, let him go. Let him go, let him go.
Brian Kendrick proves that putting your foot on the bottom rope is the referee equivalent of jingling your car keys in front of an excitable puppy.
Could this be it? Do we have a new WWE Cruiserweight Champion?
Kendrick retains the Cruiserweight title after a slow, methodical match that ended with a heavyweight wrestler interfering and causing someone to get disqualified. Classic Cruiserweight stuff right there. I can't wait for 205 Live, which will presumably just be an hour's worth of footage of the Big Show rolling over in bed so that he can scratch himself. Up next, it's the huge 5-on-5 Men's Survivor Series elimination match, and the stakes could not be higher, because on SmackDown's side, they were essentially threatened by The Undertaker that there would be huge consequences if they lost. Whereas on Raw, Stephanie McMahon told their team that their jobs depended on them being victorious. And what are the odds that neither of those things will have any kind of payoff whatsoever? I mean, it's not like this is WrestleMania. Things actually matter here. JBL introduces Bray Wyatt.
He's the eater of words.
Worlds has formed an alliance with the Viper.
Eater of words does seem more appropriate given the number of times Bray has claimed to be a god, only to lose a match 5 minutes later to say, "Oh, I don't fucking know, Kurt Hawkins." Seth debuting rolls his brand new t-shirt, which is an homage to Roddy Piper. Roman Reigns arrives and the crowd sounds like they're booing him, but really their Canadian accents are just throwing you off. They're actually saying, "It's about time that you showed up, Roman Reigns." They're huge fans of him. Michael Cole recounts Chris Jericho's recent tweets about The Undertaker's threats on Smackdown Live.
He said, "Hey, dead man," this on Twitter, "mind your own business, stupid idiot."
You think The Undertaker's on Twitter? You think that ever gets to him? Try doing that to his face.
You know, if he were on Twitter, it would be really difficult for him to live tweet anything. 'Cause he's dead. He's the dead man.
You're disgusting.
I know. Shane McMahon attempts to fly coast to coast from one side of the ring to the other and dropkick Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns counters with a devastating spear. Unfortunately, the move goes a bit wrong, and both men suffer severe blows to the head that could result in either concussion at best or crippling injury at worst. The fans show their respect for Shane by chanting his name as the medical technicians take him away, while for Roman, they show their respect by... Okay, a little bit awkward there. I mean, after all, both men were at risk of severe injury. I'm sure the emotions just got the better of the crowd. After all, one of their faves did just get taken out. I'm sure now that Roman has rolled out of the ring to take some much-needed rest to recover from his severe blow to the skull, the fans will be a little bit more lenient to... So anyway, while Seth Fendings rolls off AJ Styles, Roman takes some much-needed rest, as for fuck's sake, he could have really hurt himself, and... Man, it's almost like asshole smarks who have encouraged people to boo Roman Reigns, despite his best efforts, are actually having an overall negative effect on the perception of the wrestling community. Speaking of which, I think I'm just going to go take a good long look in the mirror for a little bit. The announce team explains away the negative sentiment toward Roman Reigns by saying that Canada is Bizarro World, which is not only offensive as it implies that any kind of dissent in opinion means that you're from some sort of wacky alternate universe, but it also implies that we are dumb enough to believe that kind of...
And Bray Wyatt with Sister Abigail picks up the wins! Raw wins! Smackdown got one!
Okay, so yeah, Canada is Bizarro World. I'll accept it. It's the only way to explain how Bray fucking Wyatt got a big win on a pay-per-view. Speaking of fantasy warfare that just got real, it's time for the mega match. And as cheesy as these sound bites seem, it really is a big deal. Take all the heat that Brock Lesnar has accumulated since defeating The Undertaker, all the star power, all the hype that he has accrued since defeating John Cena, decimating him and going through him time after time, all the momentum that he had going into WrestleMania with the title, only to have it stolen from him and then to be put right back into a feud with The Undertaker, where he once again came out on top. Now mix that with Goldberg, a man who once went undefeated for way over 100 matches, a multi-time world champion who is now more myth than monster. Two opposing, unstoppable forces that are threatening to collide in a war that will no doubt be worth the months, no, years of hype that people have put behind it. Take all of that emotion, all of that excitement, all of that hype, all of that...
What's that coming to Leicester? Here's the cover! Oh my God! Goldberg beat Brock!
And it's gone.
I love watching it, but I love watching it like a car crash.
Okay.
I'm also like, what are you doing?